Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for making us a part of your day here on the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Lauren Coleman and Stacy Spivey.
Yeah, welcome to all of you watching at home, on air, online, Roku, Fire Stick, or our WFNY News 2 app.
Let's go ahead and get to our top story this afternoon.
I'm pretty sure that's what the purpose of his life was, just to help kids, because he always loved making kids laugh.
2 years ago, Noah Chambers died in a tragic accident at a trunk or treat event in Guilford County. Many of us will never forget sharing that news. His dad telling News 2 how his legacy would live on in others through organ donation. We were able to find one of the recipients, an 11-year-old boy in Virginia named Tristan. I spoke to Tristan's mom today as she holds on tight to Noah's gift every day. Her son Tristan was born with a rare kidney disorder and a liver disease causing seizures, high blood pressure, and even a stroke. In July 2019, he was put on the transplant wait list. 93 days later, they got the call.
The rush of emotions was happy because I was excited because that kind of helped him out, but the pain that the other family felt at the same time, it was a lot of tears, definitely a lot of emotions I went through at that point.
They first met Noah's family at a benefit ride 2 years ago. In August, they went to another memorial ride. There, Tristan was playing foosball with one of Noah's cousins. Something a family member said touched her heart.
Well, Tristan was like beating Ethan in foosball, and he asked his mom, like, how is he so good at foosball? And his mom was like, because he's got part of Noah in him.
Not only does Noah live on through Tristan, he's given Tristan a fighting chance at life. Epps says he's doing great in school, and the doctor was impressed with him at his last follow-up appointment.
He always has a smile on his face. He's always giggling. He's always laughing. Even on the worst days when he's not feeling the best, he's always in good spirits. He's always in a good mood.
It was great to be able to talk to her. Heartbreaking to hear everything and how it worked out, and you know, you're so happy that Tristan gets to live and he feels so much better now that he's had this transplant, but you can't help but think about it's because of a loss of another family, and she said that's what's been really tough, but she has a great relationship with Noah's family, and that's what keeps her going.
Absolutely.
You know, when my twins got to the age where they could drive, I told them, you need to be an organ donor. I think it's a great thing to do. It's honestly probably one of the greatest things that we could do. You could possibly save a life. And I told them the story about the UNC mascot who he was killed when they were on a trip, a basketball trip, and he was an organ donor, and he saved like 4 lives by doing that. So the parents of his parents would go to meet and talk with the parents that they received his organs. And it was one of the most emotional things. Once I saw that, I said, I will make sure that I encourage everybody to be organ donors.
Yeah, you can save up to 8 people by registering to be an organ donor. And though this is such a tragic situation, there is some beauty in this tragedy with Noah's family knowing that a piece of him still lives on, and the fact that both families have met in some type of way has to be a surreal situation.
Yeah, she said it was, what did she say, a roller coaster of emotions for everyone involved.
I'm sure. In the story that I just told you, that one of the mom whose son passed away, one of the kids got his heart, and so she listened to his heartbeat.
Yes.
You talk about, there wasn't a dry eye, and I just got cold chills talking about it.
I've covered a story like that too. It wasn't with young children, but it was with a mother whose son died in a car crash when he was driving, and a couple years later she got to meet the woman who got his heart, and this lady has gone on to get her master's degree, has gone on to do so many great things, and they're actually still in touch now. They're friends. They go to church together.
That's great.
And she says it's just like having a piece of her son in her, and she gets to still have a part of her son.
Yeah, what's so crazy about that story too is, you know, when Noah passed away 2 years ago, he was 11, and now Tristan is 11 years old.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that's why you should be an organ donor.
Yeah. Great job, Stacy.
Thank you.
Well, before you and your ghouls and goblins head out for Halloween, consider taking some extra steps to keep them safe. The brighter the costume, the better. Bright colors will make your child stand out, especially since it gets dark earlier. Costumes that fit properly will help prevent falls. Avoid high heels and oversized shoes too. And skip the mask. Sounds scary, we know, but sometimes masks make it harder for us to see. Instead of a mask, use non-toxic makeup instead. Watch the accessories. Some accessories like wands, swords, and knives could cause safety hazards. Let's take a look at some of our state's latest coronavirus numbers. The state says it learned of nearly 2,500 new cases in the last 24 hours. It's the highest number we've seen in 5 days, but it's on track with the trend we've seen lately. It's evident when we add a 2-week trend line. The dotted line represents the 14-day average. Check out the encouraging gradual decline we've seen since late September. If we can continue this trend, we'll be back to the numbers we saw over the summer in no time.
President Joe Biden unveiled the scaled-back social policy, which includes child care investments. If the plan is enacted, President Biden's $1.75 trillion plan would expand early childhood education for at least 6 years by providing universal preschool for 3- and 4-year-olds. The president says the United States ranks near the bottom of developed countries in educational investments.
My wife Jill is in the back here. We always says any country that out-educates us is going to outcompete us. We can finally take us from 12 years to 14 years of universal education in America.
Now we will dig deeper into this plan coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5:30. Governor Roy Cooper was in Walkertown this afternoon discussing child care grants. Governor Cooper has visited several daycares around the state promoting new available grants. $805 million in grants will pay for early childhood education. Funds will help increase wages for teachers and help parents pay for rent and utilities. The money comes from the most recent federal COVID relief bill. All private licensed early child care facilities are eligible to apply.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Guilford County Board of Education agrees electoral district boundaries should stay aligned with the County Board of Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners is redrawing districts following a 2020 census data. The Board of Education needs to also update its districts based on census results. School board members voted to adopt the district map approved by the Board of County Commissioners. Commissioners are set to approve the map November 4th. A jury has been seated in a civil trial to determine if white nationalists who planned the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, will be held responsible for the violence that erupted. Opening statements started today. Hundreds of white nationalists went to Charlottesville in protest of plans to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The federal lawsuit seeks monetary damages and a judgment that defendants violated the constitutional rights of 9 plaintiffs physically injured or emotionally scarred by the violence. An American Airlines flight from New York to California was diverted to Denver yesterday after a passenger reportedly assaulted a flight attendant. Witnesses claimed the dispute started over wearing a mask, but American Airlines said the incident was not mask-related. A representative for the Association of Professional Flight Attendants Union said the attendant was treated at a Denver hospital for broken bones to her face and hoped to return to home after this afternoon. The FAA is investigating.
Well, we're watching a cold front that's getting closer to us to bring a little bit of rain into the area. Already starting to see that. We'll show you the radar in just a minute. First things first, we'll check temperatures. Comfortable, a little cool. Today was a little cool overall, wasn't it? Especially in the morning hours. But 64 for Greensboro and High Point and Lexington. We have Reedsville at 67, Walnut Cove, you're at 63, along with Winston-Salem, Mount Airy 62. Higher elevations, Galax, Virginia at 54, and Wilkesboro at 51. Overnight lows tonight, rain likely, and especially could be heavy at times in the overnight period. 56 will be the overnight low tomorrow. We don't venture too far from that 56, only an 8-degree difference up to 64. Scattered showers, more likely really the first half of the day than the second half. And you can see the center of circulation, the low pressure is way back out to the west, but this trailing front bringing in some of that rain. If we go in tight so you can see the triad proper, you're looking at the heaviest rains now being in parts really of southern Davidson, Randolph County, but line after line of this will be moving through. Again, getting worse before it gets better as we head into the night, and then by tomorrow, halfway through the day, we should be okay. A little bit of an occluded front, which means it'll just move slowly, but you can see it's kind of pushing through. This is 6 a.m. on Friday, so we think by about 9 or 10 a.m., I think most of the heavier rain will be gone, and then hopefully by midday or so on, it'll just be a breezy and kind of cool day with an occasional shower here or there. Look for a 50-50 shot, mostly in the morning hours, but that's a high of 64. Then clearing on Saturday and 58. Sunday, boy, Halloween looks nice, 64 and lots of sun. Next week, mid to upper 60s, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with another cold front, a little rain, and cooler on Thursday at 62. Well, it may not be the World Series, but WFMY News 2, we are excited about something we have coming up. We're giving Panthers fans a chance to win 2 tickets on 2. We have tickets up for grabs for 4 upcoming games.
First, go to WFMYnews2.com. On the homepage, you'll see the story that says Play and Score Carolina Panthers tickets on WFMY News 2. Click that story. Once you're in, click on the hyperlink that says Play 2 tickets on 2 trivia here. There are 5 Panthers trivia questions. This week, play our Panthers trivia and you're entered to win a pair of tickets to see Carolina host the New England Patriots on November 7th.
You have from now until next Monday to log on and play. Trivia closes next Monday at 6:30 p.m. What's nice about this? You can play as many times as you like. The more you play, the better your chances are to win.
All right, once trivia closes, you'll have to watch WFMY News 2 at 11. That is next Monday to see who wins. And this is just the first of 4 ticket giveaways, so you have several chances to pick up those tickets. Log on to WFMYnews2.com and play Panthers trivia for your chance to win those tickets. We'll be back.
The Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Board of Education meets tonight discussing changes to their requirements for substitute teachers and assistants. Now, right now, substitute teachers are required to have completed 60 college semester hours. Substitute TAs are only required to have a minimum of 48 hours. The board wants to lower those requirements to 48 hours for both substitute teachers and TAs. District leaders researched other similar districts in the state and found the district has the highest requirement for its subs.
Well, the conversation comes as other districts overcome the need for more substitute teachers here. Guilford County Schools recently decided to not approve leave requests for this Friday, citing an extreme shortage of available substitutes. Now, the district sent an email Monday canceling all those leave requests, which, by the way, it's the same day as North Carolina A&T's homecoming game. GCS says in the past they've received more than 1,000 leave requests this time of the year. That leaves 25% of the district's students without teachers. GCS says they get an average of about 289 substitute requests each day, and only 56% of those gets filled.
Starbucks employees can earn up to $23 per hour starting next summer. All U.S. employees will earn at least $15 per hour. and up to $23 per hour. Starting in late January, employees with 2 or more years of service get a 5% raise, while those with 5 or more years of service can get up to a 10% raise. Workers can also get a $200 recruitment bonus to help attract new employees. Starbucks says it's the 3rd time in the past 2 years it's raised workers' pay. Another employer, Costco, is raising its starting wage for hourly workers. Costco employees can earn a minimum wage of $17 per hour starting this week. This is the 2nd time this year the company has bumped hourly pay for workers. Very nice.
In the meeting this morning, I was doing the math when I think someone said $17 or $18 for hourly, and that's about a $37,440 something salary a year for $18. And that's gross, you know, before taxes, before all that. But I mean, that's pretty amazing if you think about some of those organizations that 5 years ago you'd have been like, no, you have to have a second job, you know.
Yeah, what's crazy is I made way less than that.
I was just about to say that. That's more than what a lot of starting reporters and producers make, which is why some of them do have those second jobs.
In small markets too, it's even worse. Yeah. And I was thinking, like, back in the early days of my career, a 10% raise was not out of the question. Like that was kind of something that, it wasn't a standard, I wouldn't say, but it would happen occasionally here and there. I mean, that's now.
It's life-changing.
It is, especially back then when you make this much, 10% is a big old raise.
But they'll definitely be able to attract more workers, hopefully, because you know there's been a shortage in lots of restaurants. We pull up to the drive-through and it's like, oh, we close early because we don't have enough people to work.
Yeah, I really think that this will attract a lot of people. And I mean, who wouldn't want to work at Starbucks?
Right.
Smell the coffee all day. Surely
Pumpkin
they get free
spice,
drinks,
unlimited.
right?
30 pounds later, I would feel like
Scones for breakfast every day.
Oh my gosh, every day.
The blueberry scone, my favorite.
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
From Reese's to M&M's to Snickers bars, Halloween night is a chocolate lover's dream, but those favorites can quickly become a nightmare if you spend the holiday at the emergency room with the vet. WFNY News 2's Megan Molares verifies which chocolates are the most dangerous to our dogs.
That sound means it's time to verify. It's the home stretch to Halloween and all the overpriced candy is flying off shelves. You and your little goblins aren't the only ones excitedly licking your lips. Your four-legged ghouls are eyeing the sweets too. Any pet parent knows it's common sense. Chocolate is not a dog's best friend. But have you heard this claim? The darker the chocolate, the more dangerous it is to our canines? To verify, we consulted the Pet Poison Helpline, the American Kennel Club, and Doctor of Veterinary Medicine Kelly Gebhardt with Happy Trails Veterinary Emergency Clinic. They explain chocolate contains theobromine and caffeine, which can speed up the animal's heart rate and stimulate the nervous system. Knowing how much and what kind of chocolate your pup ate is key.
The important things to remember include that the darker the chocolate, the less your pet needs to ingest to reach that potentially toxic dose. So Baker's chocolate is more toxic than dark chocolate, which is more toxic than milk chocolate. For instance, a 50-pound dog would only need to eat 1 ounce of Baker's chocolate to reach a potentially toxic dose, but would need to eat 8 ounces or half a pound of milk chocolate to reach those same toxic symptoms.
Those symptoms are vomiting, diarrhea, hyperexcitability, elevated heart rate, seizures, and increased thirst. The American Kennel Club says normally chocolate poisoning symptoms appear within 6 to 12 hours, and taking action quickly can save your pet's life.
Chocolate toxicity is one of the most common problems we see present to the emergency clinic around Halloween and the upcoming holidays. The good news is it is a very treatable toxicity with an excellent prognosis with appropriate time and supportive care.
So in conclusion, yes, it's true. The darker and less sweet the chocolate, the more toxic it is to dogs. Cocoa powder and Baker's chocolate are the most toxic. Milk chocolate is the least, but the amount ingested plus your dog's weight makes a difference. So what about cats? Yes, chocolate is harmful to them too, but the Pet Poison Helpline says dogs make up 95% of its chocolate calls because cats usually turn up their noses and won't eat it. With your Verify, I'm Megan Malaris.
You can help stop the spread of misinformation if you see a claim or story that needs to be verified. Send a selfie video or a short paragraph to verify@wfny.com. Now this is interesting because I didn't know there was levels to the chocolate. I just thought it was no chocolate, period. But they might not get as sick with other chocolates.
Yeah, I've actually heard this. My father-in-law, I just lost my train of thought for a second. I need some chocolate, some of that caffeine, right? He said, oh yeah, you can give him milk chocolate. It's not as bad as dark chocolate. I was like, oh, okay. But Wrigley has never had chocolate, but he does like to get in our trash can these days.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a whole thing of French fries last weekend. So
Not surprised. You know, they get into everything. Like as soon as they hear the fridge open, they're
yeah,
like
they're right
running
there.
down.
Yep.
Like my sister's dog Sleep, she hears a wrapper, she's like all up in my face like, I was like, you didn't want anything to do with me
That's
5
right.
seconds
That's
ago.
exactly right.
Yeah, Wrigley will be like in our bedroom. If I open up the jar of peanut butter, it's like he knows that sound. And next thing I know, he is right there and he's like, are you gonna give me peanut butter, Mom? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, when I grew
course.
up, we gave our dog scraps all the time, not really knowing that you're not supposed to
Yeah,
do that.
the
Right now, we
bones and
never
all
had
that.
a dog get sick or anything like that, but I mean, it was constant table scraps, we thought. And then when literally I go through adult life and my wife goes, we're not giving our dog, what are you doing? I said, what? She goes, that's horrible for them. So we had to stop. I learned.
I know people who serve their dogs like Big Macs and things
no,
like that. You should
no.
not do that.
You'll pay the price later. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
We have an update just coming into the newsroom. North Carolina A&T's homecoming pep rally celebration is canceled for this evening. The outdoor celebration was supposed to be at Truist Stadium tonight at 7. The school says they expect bad weather tonight, so the event is canceled. Out of an abundance of caution, students can still come pick up their jerseys while supplies last. They can get them at the Corbett Sports Center at 6 p.m. tonight. A&T says tickets will be refunded. You can get your money back through the payment method you used to buy the ticket in the first place.
If you could go back in time and fix a mistake, would you? Today on U Day, Coach Lamont shares a personal story of why looking at your past could sometimes be detrimental to your future.
As I reflect over my life, there are many things that I wish I would have done differently. Some things I regret deeply and wish I could go back in time and have a do-over. Have you ever felt this way? The truth is, no matter what mistakes you have made, there's nothing you can do to improve your past. However, you're still breathing and have a great life ahead of you. So even though you can't improve or change your past, you definitely can improve and change your future. Use your past as a playbook to getting it right the next time around. Prevention is the first step to the cure of repeated offenses. Lessons learned are only valuable when you are tested the second time around. It's a brand new day filled with opportunities to begin again. Invest in you and change your future. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best U Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I really like this, and I thought about something very similar today. I was really stressed out today, really worried about some stuff, and I just kept, worried about stuff for later on this week and next week, and I just kept reminding myself of the Bible verse that says, do not worry about tomorrow. Today has enough worry in itself. And so I think it kind of relates to this, how you can't think about the past, you can't worry about the future, you gotta just live in the moment and today.
I like that Bible verse. God will not give you more than you can bear. But I think sometimes it is good to look at the past because it's a reminder of why you're trying to change, or it's a reminder of where you came from. You don't want to be stuck in that place. But sometimes we do have to look back and be like, I need to let this go.
Sure.
Yeah. I need to move forward, and this is why.
And my favorite saying is, if you look in the rearview mirror the whole time, you crash, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I always like that saying, just so you have to glance at that, like you said,
Yeah.
take the lesson from it, but you got to look straight ahead. That's where you're going.
Keep your eye on the prize.
We'll look right here at camera 2. We're coming right back.
Mic check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? How do I sound, Michaela? Let me know. Thanks.
Many retailers are struggling to stock the shelves.
Hello,
because of
ice cold
shortages
milk and an
along the
Oreo
supply
cookie, they
chain.
forever go together. Remember about that ham 1 look at the
Shops
end of
here
my
in
story.
Greensboro have been preparing for months to make sure their stores stay filled up. Hey, mic check 1 2 3 4 5. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5.
Good afternoon and happy Friday Eve. I'm Lauren Coleman here with Stacey Spivey and Eric Tilton.
Yeah, Friday Eve. Thank goodness. Welcome to you all watching the 4 to 5 right here on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app for your TV, phone, and tablet.
So many options to watch us. Let's hop into one of our top stories for today. With the FDA advisory panel recommending Pfizer's COVID vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11, parents will have a big decision to make. But what happens if the parents are divorced and don't agree on whether their child should get the shot? I spoke with a family attorney to find out who gets to make that final decision.
It's picking up. I've already had cases where this issue has come up.
Family attorney Samuel Viscuso works cases in Guilford and Rockingham counties. He says if there is no custody order in place regarding minor children, both parents by default can do whatever they choose when deciding if their child will get a COVID vaccine. But if there's a custody order in place, it comes down to who has legal custody of the child or children.
Legal custody here in North Carolina, at least, means which parent has the authority to make legal life decisions for the minor children. So where they go to school, what type of religious practices they have, what type of medical treatment that they receive, what's appropriate. Those are the decisions that are allowed to be made when you have legal custody.
If parents have joint legal custody, Viscuso says both parents need to agree. In North Carolina, if those parents can't come to an agreement, he says they can file a motion and ask a judge to make the decision for them. But the decision could take a while.
Guilford County has historically been pretty backlogged as it is, and COVID made it really, really bad. I've got cases that were filed around the initiation of COVID just to have a custody hearing that have still not been heard by the courts.
His advice? Try to keep the situation out of court.
Try to talk to the other person that's involved. Try to resolve this outside of court. You're going to spend a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of just grief trying to go through this process. And once you put it in a judge's hands, you no longer have control over the situation.
He says parenting coordinators can be appointed to serve as a tiebreaker. He says this will allow disagreeing divorced parents to kind of sidestep going to a judge. Whatever parents choose to do, he says it should be in the best interest of the child.
So this is interesting. So, I went through a divorce with kids and all of that. And I will tell you that even pre-pandemic, if you have anything that you have to go to court for, it takes forever. And when I spoke to different attorneys, I've talked about this, just for my own personal thing. And they said, we need, talking about Guilford County, more judges, another courthouse. And they said even before pandemic, it would take sometimes 1.5 years, 2 years to be heard.
Wow.
So whatever the problem is, sometimes it was over, by the time you could get heard.
And hopefully parents can just agree when it comes to this decision because it is a health issue, it is a pressing issue. You kind of need to make that decision now rather than putting yourself into a situation where you have to wait possibly months to a year.
It's just tough.
It's stressful.
Really stressing me out thinking
about it.
Being one of those parents that, you believe one thing, your ex-spouse believes another, but you just gotta put your differences aside and focus on your child.
And if it does make it into the courtroom, he said the judge is gonna look at, is the child in a school where there's a lot of COVID cases? Are they in a lot of extracurricular activities? All those kind of things are gonna play a factor in that decision that's made.
What you hate is that somebody else is making a decision about your
It's
child.
out of your control.
Yeah.
He said, then at that point,
That's
how much you can do.
The way it works, that's right. All right, let's talk about this next story. The FDA, they are expected to meet sometime today or tomorrow to vote on emergency use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine in children ages 5 to 11. So on Tuesday, an advisory panel recommended a lower dose of the vaccine for emergency use for kids. This is ages 5 to 11, of course, and that's where this next step comes in, where the FDA will vote to approve emergency use authorization. After the FDA's vote, a CDC panel will meet to give its recommendation before the CDC director has the final say.
Now, with the anticipation of agencies approving the vaccine for kids, tried healthcare systems are preparing now. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey takes a closer look at how they're gearing up. Jalen?
Yes, Stacey, as the CDC and FDA work through the logistics of approving the vaccine for ages 5 through 11, over 800,000 kids in North Carolina could soon be eligible to get their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. And according to Forsyth County Health Director Joshua Swift, it's something he's looking forward to.
One is slowing the spread. because we know that with a lot of things, whether it's the flu or even just a common cold, it's a lot of times children will spread it. And then the other thing is really to protect those individuals that are older. So to protect their parents, to protect their grandparents, protect their teachers, to protect the people that they come in contact with every day. So.
Now, Janelle Carter is a local mom who is vaccinated herself, but when it comes to her 9-year-old daughter, she wants to make sure she's making the best decision possible.
I do like that they are coming up with a solution for children as well. But I think that, most parents are more protective of their children versus, doing something for themselves. So just the side effects, I think long-term side effects are my biggest concern.
According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, when this vaccine is released for kids, our major 6 Triad County health departments will receive close to 10,000 doses combined in the first shipment.
Well, we've got some rain on the way that we've been talking about for a few days now, and the heaviest rain moving in probably late tonight. We'll see the heavier showers. Kind of an unusual configuration when you look at this. Your mind may say, wait, how is all this, twisting back up to the north and then down as you head toward Arkansas in that area? Basically, the low pressure is back here, and then we see the front kind of bow up to the north. It's called an occluded front, basically, and sometimes that just means a slower moving front. This one will start to pick up a little forward speed, but until then, we've got wave after wave of these showers. They'll be on again, off again as we head into the next 24 hours. We think hopefully by about midday, maybe as early as mid-morning if we're lucky, we'll see the rain starting to thin out a little bit, and then probably by the afternoon we should be okay. It will be windy tomorrow and a little bit cooler as well. Here's what it looks like on the chart. There's that occluded front we talked about. So this will start to move through. This is tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Most of the heavy showers will be on their way to the northeast by that point, and then you get a little bit of this wraparound moisture around the backside of that low pressure, possibility of some of that moving in, but really once we get to tomorrow afternoon, I think we'll be in decent shape. Winds will be pretty breezy out there. I mean, we'll watch for those 20, 25 miles per hour at times. Some gusts could be that high. Tonight we'll see an overnight low of 56 with that rain likely, not venturing too far from 56 tomorrow. It's 64 for your Friday with a few showers in the first half of the day, and then Saturday we'll bring those rain chances down, a little windy and 58, much cooler. Halloween looks great, sunshine and 64, and then mid to upper 60s with sunny to partly cloudy skies through the first half of next week.
Some store shelves are thinning out because of snags in the supply chain. Some small businesses are scrambling to keep stocks coming in. WFMY News 2's Marissa Tanzino asked business owners if they're prepared to fulfill shopping lists.
Well, Lauren, many retailers are struggling to stock the shelves because of shortages in the supply chain, but local businesses right here in Greensboro have been preparing for months in hopes that their stores stay filled.
These 2 pallets just came from a freight truck. And
deliveries are still trickling in before heading out to the sales floor. It's a process that happens open to close at Toys & Co. at the Friendly Center in Greensboro, with the fear of standstill in the supply chain looming.
I am worried about December because thankfully we get so busy, both in store and on our website in the month of December, that we need to continually replenish. And our hopes is that our plans will have us full all the way through the holidays.
Those plans date back as early as January of this year. Owner Mark Holcomb says they started stocking up on popular items in advance to set themselves and their customers up for success.
December allows us to generate the revenue to sustain us for the next year up until the next holiday.
Gina Hicks and Laura Mensch at Vivid Interiors in Greensboro say design stock for their clients has been delayed over and over.
First, I think it jumped from like 4 to 6 weeks to about 8 weeks and then 10 weeks. And now we're looking at about 24 weeks minimum.
After the year small businesses had in 2020,
it's like, what's next?
Small shop owners are asking you to keep them in mind this holiday season.
Give us a chance and see what you think. We just try us once.
Now, Friendly Center will be putting together a gift guide to help people shop locally for their friends and family later this holiday season. We'll have the details for that a little bit later on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Marissa, thank you. A second recall on onions for another salmonella outbreak. Onions supplied by a second U.S. company have been recalled following a nationwide salmonella outbreak. Red, yellow, and white onions from Keeler family farms are sold to restaurants, food service or locations, and retailers in all 50 states. The recall comes 2 days after a similar recall of the same onions from Pro Source Produce LLC. The onions were shipped between July 1st and August 25th. There have been 14 cases of salmonella reported in North Carolina.
A PB&J, a few chips on the side, a little piece of fruit, and of course you got to have the Oreos for dessert. It is the standard bring your own lunch, especially when I was a kid growing up. So my question is to all of you out there and my peeps in the studio, are you still sandwich takers?
Not really. I try to stick with the salads, high protein, trying to, cut back on the carbs.
I get a salad, or I'll get a sandwich sometimes. Like today, I ran out to get a little sub sandwich. But I love sandwiches, always have.
Oh, it's so easy, especially because I'm always running behind. So you just throw a sandwich together.
And it's a meal.
Lunch. Yeah.
Right. So there was a while, and I'll say this, Lauren, when I did keto, there was no bread in the diet.
Yep.
Okay, how many other people have done the no bread thing?
I've tried it.
Okay, that is awful. Yes, we all agree it's awful. Little by little, I'm making my way back to eating bread here or there. And so, have you bought bread lately? Because there's all kinds. Do you see this? And this is just parts of the actual bread aisle. They all claim to be healthy, but is it really healthy?
It's
Have you
so
found
confusing. Back in the day it was just, whole wheat, but now it's the grain thing, right?
Yeah, I was going to say the Ezekiel bread. I think that's the healthiest I've found. It's actually frozen, but I think it's like, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's supposed to be healthy.
I've heard that too. And then they also have cauliflower bread. They have almond flour bread, coconut flour bread.
So many options.
Tanya,
all the things.
Leslie makes fun of me because if it's really healthy, I call it dirt bread.
Dirt bread.
Because it doesn't taste good.
Right.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you what to look for in the bread aisle if you're looking for healthy. And the short answer of all of this really is whole grains.
A whole grain has all three parts that it was grown with. That's the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. It's more nutritious than a refined grain, which doesn't include those two outer layers. But labels can be really confusing. For instance, breads that say multigrain or 12 grain can contain a mix of grains, and that includes white flour. Breads labeled 100% whole grain or 100% whole wheat won't have other flours like that white flour mixed in.
Less than half of the breads that we looked at that were labeled multigrain, oat, made with whole grain, actually contained just whole grains.
In addition to a high proportion of whole grains, Consumer Reports experts say the best healthy breads have minimal additives, 2 or 3 grams of fiber per slice, less than 150 milligrams of sodium, and 2 or less grams of added sugars.
What we're going to do now is check out Consumer Reports picks for best breads that are out there. There are 3 that they picked out. First and foremost, this is the Whole Foods Organic Ancient Grains. Okay, now this has 16 grams of whole grains in a slice. It's low in added sugar and sodium, and I got to tell you, I looked it up on the website. It's $3.69 a loaf. Okay, next is my pick for bread. That's right, Nature's Own 100% whole wheat. It's $2.88 at Walmart. It's $3.97 at Publix. It's got 13 grams of whole wheat in it. Okay, last but not least, this is one I hadn't heard of before. Okay, this one is called Dave's Killer Bread Organic Power Seed. It has the most grains at 19 grams, which is more than what a serving is, but it's $5.19 a loaf at the Target. So just want you to know, be healthy out there. Don't be misled by those healthy claims.
Multiple elementary schools in New York banned Halloween costumes depicting characters from the new Netflix show Squid Games. Districts cite a concern with the show's mature content and violence. Squid Game was Netflix's biggest series launch ever. The show is about a group of financially struggling adults in South Korea playing deadly versions of children's games for a cash prize. A school in Ireland and Spain have also banned Squid Games costumes. Districts did notify parents of the decision.
Okay, so I can tell you as the first thing, I'll ask you, what's the first thing that you're thinking of when you hear this story? Is there anything that came to mind? Like for me, the first thing was like, well, hopefully kids aren't watching this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But Roblox, which is a very popular game with kids, has a Squid Game in Roblox. But so the kids, they don't know. Like my kids play this and they're like, Dad, I'm playing Squid Game. And I looked at the Roblox and it's just like a little game. They are doing what they do in Squid Games if you've watched it, but it's not as violent.
So that's probably why they're wanting
That's
to
right.
dress up.
That's what I wanted to say.
And I was reading online about this. They were saying that some kids are like acting it out on the playground
that's
too.
not good.
And you might be like, oh, it's just a costume, but it does have a message at the end of
seen
the
it?
day. I have not. Everybody's talking about it and there's memes everywhere. So
I've watched the
need to
whole
see
thing and it's one of the darkest series I've seen in a long time. But they're already, I heard season 2 is on the way.
So elementary school kids should not be watching this.
No, there's no way.
Don't let your kids watch Squid Game.
Yes.
Cover up their eyes.
Nope. You can watch it. Have fun with that. We'll be right back.
But would you rather have someone text you or call? CNN reports 2/3 of younger people prefer to communicate with friends and family by text or even email rather than making a phone call. So I asked you on my Facebook page if you still make phone calls or if you fall into this category of loving text more. Kenny says, I've always liked to call, but no one wants to answer. So I text people. It takes them 3 to 5 days to respond. LOL. Yeah, sorry, I do that sometimes. Bobby still makes phone calls. Joan adds, I'll text but prefer to make a phone call. There's nothing like hearing a caring voice. Mr. Ferguson says, I try my best not to communicate with anyone in any way, if possible. Okay, Mr. Ferguson. Shirley writes, I still call folks. It's not the same when you text. Greg does all three. He says it depends on who I communicate with and the details of the conversation. And Katrina hates talking on the phone. Now, there are certain people I will always probably just call. Like, I call my mom every day.
Me too.
Yeah, I talk to her every day on my way home from work and call my husband, obviously. But friends, I usually just text them unless we really just want to catch up and we both have to like schedule a time.
See, I like text. Well, let me say this. I hate voicemail. I will not listen to a voicemail usually.
So don't leave your
It's
children
too
a
much
voicemail.
work. But I do like to talk live on the phone. If it's quick, I'll do text always first choice. But if there's too much to say, I just call.
I prefer to talk on the phone too. I've always been that way. And especially when you're trying to get to know someone, text just isn't the best thing. Like you'll get a, what are you doing? How was your day?
Right.
Good morning. Especially if it's someone like you're dating or something like that. Go ahead and call me because you can't really get too far
And you
through a
can't
text.
read a tone of a text.
Not at all.
So sometimes a joke comes across like an insult.
Yeah.
And you're like, I was trying to joke
Be
around.
funny.
Right.
I have to ask, do the twins ever call or do they just text?
Oh gosh, well, they're in college now, so they rarely ever.
They're
I
partying.
have to call them. They're not calling me. Yeah, it's true. All right, we're coming back. Call me.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6.
Hi there, I'm putting this thing on my body.
Today. Hey there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania.
Your 6 o'clock story. Okay.
Do you want mine?
Sure, thank you.
I just realized I brought it in here.
It's all right. It's like a shopping cart. Like, oh, you don't need it, I'll take it.
Yes, there you go.
Hey, getting ready to head in there right now for the tea.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, that was a fast one. Thank you. I didn't have my earpiece in, so I was unaware.
I need to tell you about a phone conversation I had the other day. Actually, a couple of conversations. They happened here at the station during that Guilford County tornado warning we had on Monday evening. You might remember you probably got an alert on your phone at the beginning of Wheel of Fortune. As we've done for decades, our weather team broke into programming to alert viewers to the storm and its potential to produce a tornado. Almost immediately, the newsroom phone started ringing with people who were livid. We were interrupting Wheel of Fortune. One man told me he didn't live in Guilford County and it didn't impact him, so I better put Wheel back on immediately. That's like telling the firefighter to move his fire truck from blocking your street when he's trying to put out a fire at your neighbor's house. You don't care because it's not your house and you're just trying to get home. I had people yelling and swearing at me because we were trying to warn people of a potentially deadly situation during a game show. We got plenty of emails too. One woman wrote, "Please shut up about tornado and put on Wheel of Fortune now." I understand tornado warning coverage can be repetitive, but honestly, that's the point. Not everyone in harm's way is watching TV at the exact same time. People are tuning in at different times when they hear about severe weather, so it's vital we keep sharing the information until that threat is over. As the TV station, keeping people safe and informed is our duty and our #1 priority. When there's a tornado warning in our area, we will stay on the air until it's over, no matter what's on TV at the time. So please, have some compassion for others. I'm certain you'd want the same treatment if a funnel cloud was moving over your house. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Parents, where would you be without childcare?